Welcome to episode 122 of Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece. My name is MyLinda Butterworth, and today we continue with the tales of the Last Tantalides and the story of Agamemnon is Avenged. Electra, in the meantime, spent mournful days in the palace of her murdered father. She lived in the hope that when her brother had grown to manhood, he would return and avenge his father. Her own mother was bitterly hostile to her. The girl had to share the palace with her father's murderers and submitted to their wishes. It was in their power to feed her or let her starve. They saw Aegisthus sit on Agamemnon's throne, adorned in the dead king's most magnificent robes, taken from his own storerooms. She saw him pour libations to the gods of the house, whose head he had slain. She was forced to witness the caresses her mother lavished on his usurper. Clytemnestra passed over the horrors she had committed with a smile and ordered a splendid feast held on the anniversary of the day on which she killed her husband. Besides this, she sacrificed many victims every month to the gods who had saved her from Agamemnon's anger. The girl ate out her heart in secret sorrow, for she was not even allowed to let her tears flow freely. "Why are you crying?" her mother would call to her. "Are you the only one who has lost a father? Is no one entitled to mourn except yourself? I wish your foolish grief would be the death of you." And when vague rumors that Orestes was alive and preparing to go against Mycenae reached her, she poured out her terror and sense of guilt on her unhappy daughter. "It will be your fault if he came," she cried. "Did you not steal him from under my very hands? But you will not live to rejoice in the fruit of your plots. The punishment you so richly deserve will overtake you sooner than you think." Whenever such scenes occurred, Aegisthus aided and abetted his queen, and Electra fled from them and tried to hide in the remotest chamber of the palace. Years had passed, and still she waited for Orestes to come, for even though he had been so young when she sent him away, he had promised his sister to return as soon as he was strong enough to bear weapons. But that was long ago, and now hope was slowly dying in Electra's heart. Her sister Chysothemis did not have her staunch, brave spirit. She could not further her plans or ease her sorrow, not because she was careless of Electra's grief, but because she was too soft and tender-hearted. Chysothemis obeyed her mother and constantly opposed Electra's wishes. One day she came out of the palace carrying offerings for her dead father and utensils with which to perform sacrifice. Clytemnestra had sent her, but when she crossed Electra's path, her sister reproved her for her obedience and for her forgetfulness of Agamemnon. "Will you never learn to give up your useless grief?" Chysothemis answered. "I too am hurt by what I see around me, and I give in only because I have to. But you, unless you stop lamenting, they will imprison you in a cave far away, and you will never again see the light of day. I heard them talking about it. Remember this, and if misfortune overtakes you, do not blame me." "Let them take me as they like," said Electra coldly and proudly. "I shall be best off whenever I am farthest away from all of you. But for whom are those offerings intended, sister?" "My mother told me to sacrifice them at the grave of our dead father." "For her murdered husband?" Electra cried in amazement. "Whatever put that into your head?" "A dream," Chysothemis replied. "They say she saw our father in her sleep. With his hand he seized the scepter he once owned, and with Aegisthus carries now. He planted the scepter in the earth, and out of it grew a tree with sturdy branches, which soon cast their shade over all of Mycenae. This dream frightened her, and so today, while Aegisthus is not at home, she sent me to placate our father's soul with these offerings." "Dear sister," Electra said pleadingly, "do not let the gifts of this wicked woman touch our father's grave. Scatter them to the winds, or bury them secretly in the sand, where no smallest part can reach our father's resting place. Do you think that the murdered man wants to receive a gift from his murderess? Throw all this away, and instead cut a few locks from your head, and take my locks as well, and bring these and my girdle, the only thing I possess, to our father. And when you reach his grave, throw yourself on the ground, and beg him to come out of the depths of the earth to aid us against our foes and his. Beg him to let the proud footsteps of his son soon sound in our ears of Orestes, who will dispatch his murderers. Then we shall adorn his grave with rich offerings." For the first time, Chysothemis was stirred by her sister's words. She promised to do as she said, and hastened away with the offerings her mother had given her. She had not been gone long when Clytemnestra came from the inner halls of the palace and began to jeer at her elder daughter as usual. "You seem quite gay today, Electra," she said. "I suppose it is because Aegisthus, who keeps you within bounds, is away. You should be ashamed to appear in front of the door. This is not proper for a girl. But perhaps you are here to complain of me to the servants. Are you still accusing me of the killing of your father? I do not deny it, that I did this deed, but I was not unaided. The goddess of justice stood at my side, and if you had any sense, you would hasten to be her ally. Did not this father of yours, whom you weep for all the time, have the insolence to sacrifice your sister for his own advantage and the sake of Menelaus? Has such a father not forfeited all claim to reverence? If my dead daughter had the power of speech, I am sure she would say I am right. But whether you approve of me or not, foolish girl, is a matter of indifference to me." "Listen," Electra replied. "You boast of having murdered my father. That is shameful enough. Whether or not the murder was justified has nothing to do with it. You did not kill him for the sake of justice. You were driven to it by the flattery, by the caress of that man who now owns you. My father sacrificed his daughter for the Argive army, not for his personal welfare. He did it reluctantly. He did it under compulsion, and only for the sake of the people of Greece. But even if he had done it for his brother and himself, is that any reason why he should die by the hand of his wife? Did you have to marry your accomplice, and so let disgrace follow on the heels of crime? Or was that also included in the vengeance you think you owed your daughter?" "Insolent girl!" screamed Clytemnestra. "By Artemis, you shall repent your defiance as soon as Aegisthus returns. Will you stop annoying me and let me make my offerings in peace?" And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales. Many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.